Well, I actually got a sense of the way things were going because I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard the results coming in from the northeast of England. And I'm afraid they filled me with a sense of foreboding and gloom, because it was obvious that the Leave side was going to prevail. My wife didn't wake up until about 7:30 that morning, and her first question obviously was, what happened in the referendum? And I said the Leave side won, and she said, I don't believe you. And we both felt pretty shell-shocked. Yes, personally, two things. First of all, we have two sons with families who live abroad, who have always said, well, at one point we'll come back and live in Britain. And both of them have said, we're much less sure now that we will, because of what is happening to the country. The second thing is that we have a number of Jewish friends who are the children of German emigres who came to Britain to flee Hitler, and who have the right to obtain German passports. And all of the ones that I know are doing so. And these are extremely patriotic people, they're good friends, and it makes me very sad that they should feel driven to do that sort of thing. Yes, a question really, which is, what is the problem that Brexit is supposed to solve? It was supposed to be about immigration, but we now hear from ministers who say it'll take years and years before immigration starts to come down after Brexit. It was not really about the economy, but I can see no way in which the British economy is not going to be poorer as a result of Brexit than it would otherwise have been, and possibly poorer in absolute terms. It's also, I think, threatening to create grave problems. One of the most obvious one is the disintegration of the United Kingdom. We now see renewed demands in Scotland for a referendum. The situation in Ireland, Northern Ireland, has become perilous and very uncertain, and there is a rise in Republican pressures that we saw in the recent elections that led to the huge increase in the seats for Sinn Féin. So there is a serious risk that Brexit is going to result in the breakup of the United Kingdom. Yes, in a word, worried. The £50 billion? Well, of course, Mrs. May has suggested she's not going to pay anything like that amount, though she would be prepared to pay smaller sums in order to participate in EU programmes. But it's now clear that the Chancellor seems to be having second thoughts. He's already indicated that he's planning to set up a contingency fund of roughly that amount in order to cover the costs of Brexit. I think he's probably wise to do so. First of all, because it does look as though the 27 are in a stronger position than the UK on this, but also because Britain, a lot of Britain's international standing, and indeed its ability to borrow in international markets, depends on creditors internationally having confidence in Britain's long record of always paying its debts. If it walked away from large debts, it could damage Britain's reputation, and it could also drive up the costs of borrowing on international markets. The campaign was fought by the Leavers on the slogan, "Let's take back control," and the claim that Brexit would make Parliament sovereign. Well, I haven't seen any sign of us taking back control, and what I have seen is a Prime Minister who has fought at every step of the way to deny Parliament any right at all to influence Brexit. Unfortunately, Parliament went along with that. The second point, I think, is that Britain is not in control of its own destiny here at all. It will depend very much on events beyond its own borders, most obviously in the negotiations, of course, but also before they really get underway, we have a succession of important elections on continental Europe, starting with the Netherlands and most importantly in France, where a victory for Marine Le Pen and the National Front could completely change the political calculus, because it means that France would then be ruled by a president who shared many of the same anti-EU and anti-Euro views as the UK, and who has said that she wishes to hold a referendum on whether France should remain a member of the EU. In those circumstances, the whole picture could completely change.